of Imam Ahmad with an acceptable chain of narration, narrated to us by Abu Hurairah. The theme of the significance of Jumu'ah and the etiquettes of Jumu'ah was supposed to be, but then I got sick for a week and wasn't here so it's all been kind of shuffled forward. So I'm going to continue with what I wanted to talk, at least the main hadith, inshallah, then I'll move on. The goal of these Khawatir after Isha is to thematically talk about small aspects of Islam, offer some insight, some food for thought. And not to bore you, we try to move from one thing to the other so that there's always some degree of renewal. But when you talk about Jumu'ah, people usually feel, okay, this is going to be redundant. I've heard this a million times. Honestly, based on my observations from up there, we're not talking about Jumu'ah enough. Like, I don't feel like the concept of it being a redundant topic is not evident from the perspective of someone standing on the minbar. And I've stood on every minbar in the city, and I can tell you that we don't know what we're doing. Like, it doesn't seem like the culture of Jumu'ah is clear, even though this is something that should be clarified from the home base. That's where this should come from. At home, you should make sure your child, once they're of the age where they're going to be attending Jumu'ah, and Jumu'ah counts for them, like they're 15 or 16, they should know exactly what the significance of that day is and what the ahkam, the rulings regarding that day, around that day look like, and the etiquettes and all that, so that they attend Jumu'ah appropriately, they get the ajr for it by attending it appropriately, and they know why they're going and what they're looking for. And I feel that's not all there, and that's why I'm trying to do this series as a documentation, so that later on I can have younger people refer to the playlist of all the hadith that talk about Jumu'ah. Go listen to them. It's an hour and a half, maybe, or two, and then you have all the information that you need. So that's the point of doing this. So forgive me if it's getting boring for you, but inshallah, we'll try and make sure the hadith are of a variety so that they're not repetitive. Because when you talk about Jumu'ah, the hadith are quite repetitive, meaning the Prophet ﷺ would talk about the same thing and use the exact same wording, alayhi salatu wasalam, and he rarely did that. He was a man of few words, and when he spoke about something, he didn't repeat him. He didn't repeat it later on unless it was very, very important. Once he explained it and it was clear, he moved on, alayhi salatu wasalam, because there's so much to learn. Imagine if he didn't do that. Imagine Islam wouldn't have even reached us, because there's so much to teach, and he had to make sure he did it that way. But when it came to Jumu'ah, he repeated a lot because it's very important. So this is what he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, in this hadith. قال لا تطلع الشمس بيوم ولا تغرب بأفضل من يوم الجمعة. That the sun does not rise on a day, nor does it set on a day that is better than the day of Jumu'ah. وما من دابة إلا وهي تفزع ليوم الجمعة إلا هذان الثقلان من الجن والإنس. And there is no creature that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made except it finds تفزع. You can translate it as they get scared, but really tafza' means that they're at a high level of a high degree of alertness, a high degree of they're alert. They know that this day matters, that there's significance to this day. They're aware of it. Except illa hadani thaqalan, except these two species of jinn and ins, they don't care. Because they had to learn this. This is going to be an acquired piece of knowledge for them. It's not going to be innate as it is for other creatures. And and again, how they do that is something that we don't know. The way they do tasbih is unknown to us. But we know that they do tasbih, and we know that they do sujood. We just don't know. وَلَكِنْ لَا تَفْقَهُونَ تَسْبِيحَهُمْ. You're not in a position where you're capable of comprehending or understanding how they do it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made that. The point of this piece of the hadith is to say that Jumu'ah is important across the boards. Jumu'ah has been made important to every living thing. Whether you are aware of it or not doesn't make a difference. Everything is aware of the importance of Jumu'ah. It is the best day, and you should be as well. ثم قال وعلى كل إنسان ملكان يكتبان الأول فالأول كرجل قدم بدنه وكرجل قدم بقرة وكرجل قدم شاة وكرجل قدم طيرا وكرجل قدم بيضة فإذا قعد الإمام طويت الصحف. He said, and upon each person are two angels that are writing. But they're writing الأول فالأول, the first upon the first, meaning they're writing, these two angels, their job is to write who's coming for Jumu'ah and at what time they're coming for Jumu'ah and how prepared they are for Jumu'ah. So the person who comes the earliest, who's most prepared and has put in all the effort in terms of the etiquette and significance, is as if قدم بدنه, it's as if you sacrifice for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a large camel. And if you come a little bit later after that, then it's as if it's a cow. And if it's a little bit less than that, then it's a sheep. And if it's less than that, then it's a chicken. And if it's less than that, then it's an egg. فإذا قعد الإمام, once the imam sits, he says, Assalamu alaikum, he sits, طويت الصحف. The registration, the attendance, they close it. So you come after that, it doesn't. They didn't write your name. You can stand at the door and call upon the malaika as much as you want. Can you open? They're not going to open up and write again. You have to come before the imam starts. So it's extremely, when you hear, and this is one of maybe 17 authentic ahadith that talk about the fact that you have to come to Jum'ah before the imam gets up on the minbar. 17. And still, no, there's no hope. For me, I have no hope. I have no hope. Just Jumu'ah, it's once a week. You can't. You don't have a phone to alarm 15 minutes beforehand so you can make it. We always have to have parking problems. We always have to people pushing and shoving. You always have. Why? We shouldn't. We shouldn't, because the Prophet ﷺ says they're writing. You're coming early. It's like you gave. It's like you sacrificed a camel for the sake of Allah. Most of us don't do udhiyah. We can't afford it. Well, every week. Badan or baqar or shah or tayr or an egg, anything. You're getting something, even if you come, but you come after the imam sits, طويت الصحف. The records have been closed. No one's listening anymore. Just keep that in mind, that it's important. It's a once a week. Put in the effort to make it on time. Be punctual for God. Don't be punctual for anyone else, all right? If I run something at a certain time, go out of your way to come late. No problem. Spite me. I'm not. But be punctual for God. You're not being punctual for the imam up there. It's for the sake of God, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're being punctual for Him. He gave you a timing, come for the timing. That timing is whenever the masjid decides the imam is going to say Assalamu alaikum. Be there for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think that's a worthy message for us to kind of consider and think about. يروي الإمام أحمد في مسنده بسند حسن عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم لا تطلع الشمس بيوم ولا تغرب بأفضل من يوم الجمعة وما من دابة إلا وهي تفزع لهذا اليوم إلا الثقلان من الجن والإنس وعلى كل إنسان ملكان يكتبان الأول فالأول كرجل قدم بدنه وكرجل قدم بقرة وكرجل قدم شاه وكرجل قدم طيرا وكرجل قدم بيضة فإذا قعد الإمام طويت الصحف. صدق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت استغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله